Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Independent Era 2 Premium Medium Tank, the Amolad, a matter of life and death. Now if you do like the video, as always don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Amolad, it's part of the Iron Maiden Metal Fest collaboration Bob. And it's a tank that is comprised of a Centurion hull with some weird spaced armour over the front, a T-72 turret, and the Chieftain gun. Now, is it any good? I'm not a big fan of it myself. I don't really like it because I feel like the gun depression at 6 degrees can be a little bit limiting at times. The gun handling on this tank as well can feel a bit wonky. It feels like it's way less accurate than it actually is, and the accuracy on this tank can be just really frustrating. And the armour is just non-existent. It just tends to get penned by every man and his dog. Ammo racked if any ATGM hits the front of the tank. And yeah, it's a bit of a pain for the Amolad in that regard. I'm just not a big fan of it myself. I don't really like it. I think there's better out there in stuff like the Chieftain Hybrid 120, for example, which you'll get the same playstyle of, but better and cheaper as well, which always helps. And yeah, I just feel like there is better out there than the Amolad. It's not really my kind of tank. But that being said, what is the Amolad all about? Well, it's got 418 penetration on its standard APFS DS, APDS, sorry, that it has on the standard rounds. The premium round is APFS DS, though, and that has 483 penetration, and it has HESH rounds as its HE for 680 damage, which has 290 penetration, which is fantastic. And the HESH rounds on this tank are an absolute asset, same as they are on the Chieftain gun, same as they are on the Hybrid 120. The HESH rounds can be such a big asset and massively up your DPM. They can actually really turn a fight around as well. If you realise that you could use the HESH rounds, they can really swing a fight in your direction because your DPM just goes insane. You just got to be careful where you're shooting with the HESH rounds, naturally, because, well, you know, they're HESH rounds, and they mean that, well, they're HE, which means they don't always pen, which can be a little bit frustrating sometimes with them. You do have a 6.2 second reload, which is 5.1k DPM, which is pretty decent, but obviously stuff like the Hybrid 120 is going a little bit faster in that regard. Your accuracy with the build that I run is 0.25 at 100 meters, which is absolutely solid, but like I say, this gun feels wonky at distance sometimes. Hits the floor, well, you know, just one of those guns that has shots hit the floor that you go, really? Really? You know, you've got 1.7 accuracy during movement with the build that I have, and a 0.56 accuracy during rotation, which is pretty damn nice. Means this gun doesn't bloom out all that much. And having a 1.66 second aim time as well, by the way, means that this gun gets aimed in really quickly, and you never really have to worry about that too much, which is good. But you also have a 68.7 km/h top speed with the build that I have, with a 34.6 km/h reverse speed, with an 18.65 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that you do get somewhere close to the top speed, but sometimes it can feel a little bit sluggish getting up to it. You will hit the top speed, you just feel a little bit sluggish at times compared to some others with that. And that can be a bit of pain for the vehicle, you know, just sometimes with it, really. So as you can see, this first game has gone pretty well for me in terms of damage at 7.6k damage, but their team, I made a mistake here. I was going to go under the bridge and then loop around and try and get behind them, but their whole team has already got to our base. They're currently sitting in it, and it's like, oh no, we need to get back there if we can. We load HESH for the Armadillo, which is a mistake. We shouldn't have loaded HESH for the Armadillo because we're never going to pen that because it's covered in spaced armor. But we also have the HE loaded for the Rickety Panzer, but again, he was a one-shot, so we could have just shot him with APDS. We come around, fire the HESH round, and that one flew so high. If we'd fired APDS there, again, that was a mistake. We probably would have penned one of those guys, and we probably would have reset the cap, so my bad. But finished the game with 3 kills, 7.8k damage, the second class, the high caliber, with the 855 base XP on a loss. It was a sad time. We just made mistakes there. We realised too late that the cap was doomed. We fired the wrong kind of round at the end to try and reset, and that meant the shell flew into the distance. I mean, don't get me wrong, the shell went nowhere near where I was aiming, but still, if we'd fired APDS, we'd have been alright. And the reason that HESH shell went absolutely flying, by the way, is because the shell velocity on the HESH is pretty atrocious. It's only 660 meters a second, which is way slower than the standard in the premium round, which is 1530 meters a second. So if you do fire the HESH rounds, be aware that they will loop, they will go very high, and they will have a lot of struggle at distance hitting the target that you want to hit. it has to be perfectly stationary and very lightly armoured to be able to truly make sure that that is going to hit the right spot. But what do I run in terms of a crew on the Amolad? Well, on the Amolad, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, Clutch Braking, and Rapid Aim. Clutch Braking to make the track traverse better, the Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, the 3 gun perks because this gun does feel annoying at times, with shells exactly like that you just seen on the Bagel Panzer. But yeah, the gun feels really annoying at times, so I make sure that it is as good as possible. The Advanced Loader to make the DPM as good as it can be. The Gun Stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible so that that gun bloom is as good as it is. And the Ammo Swapper so that I can use the fantastic hash rounds that this vehicle has to good effect where I want to. Like you just saw against that Bagel Panzer, we slapped a big hash round through his lower plate for like 682. It really hurt him, and then we finished him off with the standard APDS because we didn't need the hash anymore to go after him. There's multiple ways you can set this tank up. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable with the tank. Like I say, if you... 707, by the way, with the hash round. But yeah, anyway, there's multiple ways you can set up the tank. If you don't feel comfortable running the ammo swapper, you could run the traction system to get quicker. You could run the vents to make the DPM better. You could get rid of Track Mechanic if you don't really care about having Track Mechanic on the vehicle and take something else instead. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable with the tank. There's no real right or wrong way to set up a vehicle. It's just how you feel comfortable and how you can get the best out of the vehicle that you're playing. So you can see the second game is on Sunset Coast. We have switched back to the Hesh round because they are so juicy for taking out AMX-30s and Leopards. If you're firing at a Leopard 1A3 or A5, you do have to be careful though because they have random bits of spaced armor on the upper plate, which the Hesh can just go, nah, I'm not going to pen that. So be wary of that. But on MX-30s, unless it's a Brennus, oh boy, you can slap those Hesh rounds easily through the upper plates and then set them on fire quite often too. And we absolutely trashed that poor MX-30B with the Hesh rounds and really hurt him. We've found the AMX-13 SS11. He's not realised that I was coming in. So we fired the Hesh round at him, which tracked him, but didn't pen him. We fired another one, which actually doesn't pen him again. It only tracks him. But we make sure with the APDS this time to finish off the 13 SS11 and get rid of that Era 2 light tank there from the Western Alliance. So we're up to 5.4k damage with 2 kills, 1107 assistance, and the T-72A that is currently being swarmed by my 2 guys, we're going to get in there and help them get rid of him if we can. We switched to APFSDS just to make sure that we are going to go through the T-72A, because we don't want any awkward 418 pen bounces, which can happen, can be a little bit frustrating sometimes. But you do have that 483mm of pen APFSDS, and to be honest, if you load the premium APFSDS, you're not going to struggle to pen too much in this era. You're just going to butcher everything, because the penetration is fantastic on this tank in that regard. You do get some weird bounces on stuff like T-72s and FV-4211s if you do fire the standard APDS, but that's just because 418 pen is not always a guarantee to go through some of those vehicles. But we finished that game there on Sunset Coast with the epic victory. 4 kills, 6,444 damage, 1,107 assistance. The ace tanker with the 1,686 base XP. A pretty decent game there for the Amolad. I'm quite surprised that that was an ace, but we'll take it. We'll take it, you know. Take it, it's fine. And we're on to the third and final replay of this video, and we are on Go Around Like a Donut, Duckler Pass. So what we're going to do on Duckler Pass is do what tends to happen on this map in Era 2s and Era 3s especially, and that is charge down the 2 line and go up the AB line, which then the team on the opposite side does the absolute opposite to that, goes down the 9 line and down the JK line. Happens every time, and it's just the way that Era 2 and Era 3 tends to go for this map. It's more pronounced in Era 3 than it is in Era 2, and occasionally at Era 2 you can get good splits, but for the most part, yeah, no, it still happens. So this 4-2-1-1 gets spotted over in the distance, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's see if we can get some cheeky shots at him. But sadly, he's not coming out to give us any free shots, so we're just going to use our mobility and try and close the distance. But we get spotted, and it's like there's something out there then, because that 4-2-1-1 wasn't the one that looked at me. We do get detected again, and we end up seeing that the medium tanks that have just got spotted in the distance by the light tank are out in the open, and they must have been the ones that were seeing us. We do get a free shot into one, trying to assist our light tank if we can. We get one into the smoke screen, but just as we're waiting for the reload, the Type 80-2 sort of gets away, but he just drives back out in front of us. It's like, okay, sir, thank you for that. And we hit him for 569, because you do have 530 alpha on this standard APDS and APFSDS, which can be pretty nice to have. It's a little bit higher than some of the averages in Era 2, because a lot of them are like 480 odd in this era, so having that 530 alpha, just like the Chieftain and the Chieftain Hybrid 120, is definitely a very big asset for the vehicle. And we're going to go in on the 4-2-1-1. So we've got the premium round load, and I think let's shoot the lower plate, the 4-2-1-1. Nope, 483 pen bounces off the lower plate, which, it's a 4-2-1-1. It's pretty troll at times, right? I should have probably expected that. We go for the free aim shot on the Armadillo, and sadly, we just fire that split second too late, and we didn't end up getting the shot into the Armadillo. We actually get lucky that we didn't get pen with the ATGM from the BMP, but we did get a shot into him in return. Unfortunately, could not get that shot into the Centurion. I did instantly go to the Hesh rounds with the ammo swapper there for that BMP, because I thought, well, you know, it's a BMP, that's an easy pen. Same as that Leopard 1A5. But sadly, because of the shell velocity, the way the shell looped, we had a full shot at the lower plate of that Leopard 1A5, but it hit the upper plate. And a Leopard 1A5 isn't quite like a Leopard 166 or a Leopard 1A3. I mean, the Leopard 1A3 has a little bit, but the 1A5 especially is one of those that has 0 armor, right? And it has spaced armor on the front, little bits and bobs of spaced armor, not much like the Brennus, but it's got little bits and bobs of spaced armor on the front, on the 1A5, which means that everything butchers it, except for if you fire HE. If you fire HE, there's quite a likelihood that that HE is probably just going to splash. So you've got to be very, very careful of that shooting HE at stuff like Leopard 1A5s. So we managed to get the kill there on the 1A5, and we see where the most of the enemy team is. They are in the mid at EF56. So we're going to try and get into a position to get some crossfire into those guys that are in the open in the middle. We tried to get a shot towards the AMX-30B2, but sadly we hit the ridgeline in front of us. Now looking for a shot towards the M103A2, and our 6 degrees of gun depression was just causing us to get very awkward moments there on that ridgeline where the gun just kept pointing into the sky. We couldn't hit the M103. We try and get one into the top of his turret, but it loops high. And just as we fire at that guy, a Bagel Panzer drives in front of the gun, and we could have just got the shot in. A little bit late to the second shot, though, and we ended up missing that. We load Hesh now for that 30B2's upper plate, and 652 damages his fuel tanks. Might damage his Amarak there, as well as the Stingray ended up... Not the Stingray, the Bagel Panzer ended up... Oh, no, the Bagel Panzer probably just killed him with one shot with his ATGM. But, ayo. So we're going after the M103. And again, I see he's got his turret to us, the back of his turret, so we load the Hesh. 648 into the back of that guy is a lovely, nice HE roll there. 636, I mean, they are low rolls, because we do have 680 alpha, but, you know, it's still higher than it would have been. We get another HE roll into the Bagel Panzer for 617, which again is a low roll, which, you know, possibly this guy is actually running the armor angling or something like that, but yeah, we got a bit unlucky with that. I'm not too fussed about the cap, because we have a medium tank in Overwatch, and the cap from our spawn is actually pretty easy to reset from the hill where he is. And you can see it keeps getting reset, so I'm not too concerned about that. So we're just going to use the pretty good DPM this vehicle has to just keep this TR125 permatracked, because if you do have this thing fully set out for DPM, or have the best DPM you can get except for vents, you can permatrack people if they don't run track mechanic, just like that TR125. We managed to farm pretty much all of his hit points. The light tank that's in the cap just about gets shut down. It's still 4-2, so this could be pretty close. But we know that the Magak is a 2-3 shot, and the Bagel Panzer is a 1 shot. So we're going to go over. I was thinking of maybe Hesh for the lower plate of the Magak, but I just want to make sure I'm going to pen it. So we put one shot through his side. He is coming after us, so we get a second shot through his lower plate. He's charging. I'm thinking, you know what? Go on then. Ram me. We repair the Amarak, we know the Bagel Panzer's coming around, we load Hesh so that I know that if I pen him I'm going to get a big roll, or I could track him, and that's exactly what happens. We ended up tracking him in place, which stopped the Bagel Panzer dead. We only did about 300 damage, but that got rid of that that Era 2 light tank, and finished the game with the 5 kills, 9.3k damage, 1720 assistance, the ace tank of the high caliber, the Confederate, with 1905 base XP, a pretty damn nice game there for the Amolad. A tank that is back on sale this week, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this vehicle in general. I do think there is better out there, and some of them are cheaper as well, which is also very, very nice in regard to that as well. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.